Coach, we're going to start with Manny Navarro from The Athletic. Manny, go ahead.
So, hey, Coach, how you doing?
Hey, Manny.
Hey, just, obviously Tyler's just been an amazing story, the improvement he keeps making. When you guys sat down there and reviewed the film, anything you kind of said, hey, you still got to fix this or that? And I guess, what did you give him a whole lot of credit for doing well?
Yeah, I think, he forced two balls. He forced one down the middle to Mike on our second or third touchdown drive in the first quarter. We ended up getting a pass interference call, but he kind of forced that one. They dropped he should have dumped the ball down to Will. And then it was towards the end of the third quarter, I think. It was when it was raining pretty good. He forced one to Rambo down their sidelines. He got tipped. He ended up catching it out of bounds, and he could have checked that one down to X. So, there was a couple times I think he was trying to be aggressive and make a play. The one to Rambo, who knows if it's a dry ball, he probably thought he could get enough on it. It's just harder when it's raining. The one to Mike, he definitely should have come off of it. So there's still a couple times every game where I love his aggressiveness, but there's times where he can come down and just take something easier that they're giving him. And then, every now and then, like all quarterbacks, especially young guys, there's times his eyes could be better to look safeties off and stuff like that. But overall, I thought he came out firing, came out competing. He just gives guys chances to make plays, especially down the field. He's playing with a lot of confidence. So I thought he did both of those things really well. And I thought he really gutted it out. He got a little nicked up and was able to really, really push through and finish. And I thought that was good.
And if I could, just as a quick follow, because I didn't see too many other hands up. Is there something for sure that you say, man, in the last 3 weeks, he's gotten so much better at this?
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's gotten really good at getting enough depth in the pocket that he can get through his progressions, get the ball out and avoid a lot of sacks, or even sometimes when there's some pressure, slide maneuver away from it to either get the ball out to a guy or at least throw it away and not take sacks. I just think he's done a really good job, really gotten better each week, but just over the course of when he had his first start till now of, not taking unnecessary sacks, getting the ball out when he can, taking the completions when he can. For us to, we probably played our worst game of the year against Virginia Tech last year. I think, we were really thin. We gave up 6 or 7 sacks. And, for us to do what we did the other night and not give up any sacks against a pretty solid front, I was really proud of our O-line. But I think it's a group effort, and I think that's something he's done really well, just getting the ball out of his hands.
Coach, we'll go next to David Lake from 24/7. David, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Sticking with Tyler, I guess. Hey, Coach. If you were going to highlight he made a ton of impressive throws, right? From an arm talent perspective. I'm just curious if you would highlight which one of those throws jumps out to you most in terms of, wow, that's a big time throw he made. And also too, just the freshman receivers are coming on strong here. Just if you could go into their improvement here at the end of the season.
I think probably the two most impressive throws he made, the one he made late to Mike was a 55-yard just rope and hit him right in stride. He actually threw it a little bit late. So when he let it go, you could see pretty quick we had Mike. He threw it late. I was worried he's going to be underthrown because Mike was a little ways down the field. He stuck his foot in the ground and just ripped it. And thankfully it wasn't raining at that moment as much, I don't think. And then, but probably the most impressive one with the highest level of difficulty was the one to Burchard, just because, it was from the left hash all the way to the far side of the field on the right hash. It was a field kind of out and up. They actually went cover 2. The safety took Rambo. The corner sank. And really, he probably should have just dumped the ball to Thad. But Burchard's so fast. And I think it surprised the corner a little bit because he ran right in between the corner and the backer and just kept rolling. And you could see Tyler kind of pumped and then realized, no way, he's going to beat him. And just put it with a lot of air to the field, right up and over the guys. And it's one thing to have completed that ball. That's hard enough. But to hit Burchard in stride in a way that the corner, who was only trailing by a few yards, couldn't catch him, that was a pretty impressive throw. Obviously, speaking of Burchard, you saw his explosion on that play and on the one down on the goal line and, some other things. So he, like I said, I think he's got all kinds of explosion, and we're really, really excited about what he is going to become and already becoming. I thought Jacoby made a big time catch for us early on across the middle of the field. And he does a lot of things just naturally and instinctively that maybe most people don't see. Like he beats the corner inside on a post and the corner's trailing and Tyler had to kind of throw the ball hard on a rope. And right before the ball gets there, Jacoby like flattens his body to the ball to kind of protect it from the defender. I mean, just little things like that it's hard to teach. You can say it, but he just naturally has those things. And obviously his punt returning was incredible. We got great field position early on to start the game from him and X and those guys on punt and kickoff returns. And then even Mello, I know we missed him, but Mello had a great route late that could have kind of put the game totally away. But he really spun the corner around. And like I said, we think the future is really, really bright with those three guys. And I should say X. I mean, I know X isn't as young as them, but Xavier Restrepo is a guy that we think, I mean, he's been steady all year, and we're really excited about him too.
Coach, we'll go next to Susan Miller-Degnan from the Miami Herald. Susan, go ahead.
Hey there. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Thank you. Two questions for you. Regarding bowl games, how important are they to you, and what do you get out of those extra practices? And a lot of guys in recent years have seemed to opt out of them. Does it make it even more crucial to have those practices? That's my first question. And the second one is, with all the uncertainty, swirling around the AD's job, the head coach's job, how concerning is that for assistant coaches? We seem to forget about them and their futures. I know it's a tough situation, and it seems to happen a lot these days in college football.
Yeah. With the bowl games, obviously the landscape of college football changing it last several years. The bowl games I'm sure everybody has a different take on it. Whether it's guys opting out or guys choosing not to play in bowl games if they maybe aren't in the playoff situation or whatever. I still think it's really valuable. First of all, you always want to win. So if you play, you play to win. But I think, bowl games were always intended to be rewards for players. Like back when they started, it was rewards for players, rewards for fans. It was kind of detached from the season. It was like a chance to hopefully go win a game, play somebody cool that's not normally on your schedule, go to a cool place, let the fans enjoy it, let the players enjoy it, the coaches' families enjoy it. And, then it became like, hey, if you don't win a bowl game, you're out of here, or this or that. And now you've got situations where you may have guys, if they're going to be first, second, third round draft picks, and it's not in the playoff, like, and then, as a coach, you want everybody to play, but you get it. If that guy's got a chance, why should he play in a game that, it means something, and he probably wants to play, but like, it's not a good business decision for him. Right. And so you understand that. So I don't know, to me, we got to kind of recalibrate what we want out of bowl games, because what they can be is still a big reward for your players. And a lot of times there's some big time bowl games you're in. So that changes, but just being in a bowl game is a reward for the players, reward for everybody for, making a bowl game. And then you don't get spring scrimmages. Maybe one day they'll let us do that, have a scrimmage with another school, but they don't right now. So if X, Y, and Z opt out, that's a great opportunity for this freshman, that sophomore, this guy to get, anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15 practices and then go play a real game. And so, now you may be playing the game with guys that you didn't play the whole season with. So you're going to have bowl games where teams don't look like they did during the season. Last year we had some guys that were going to be first round picks that didn't play in the bowl game. I mean, how do you judge somebody on that game when they don't have their team that they had all year? At the same time, if you can go take it as an opportunity to get better, it's an opportunity to almost have like another spring practice with a scrimmage at the end of it, but just not against yourself. And so, but make no mistake, you play to win, and that's why you go there. And it's a great opportunity for those guys who you think you're going to count on in the future to get in a real competitive environment before next season. I think the second question, look, we know what we sign up for. You're playing for your job every week, pretty much. I mean, I've learned this in this business. If things are going well and you relax, they can switch in a hurry, as we see around the country. So that's just part of it. You gotta do the best you can to focus on what you can control each day. I think that's something that our kids have done awesome this year. Our staff, every week has been almost like our backs are against the wall this year. And for our guys to win 4 out of the last 5 games and be playing really good football down the stretch, I think just kind of shows you where everybody's been able to keep their head at.
Coach, we'll go next to Chris Stock from Inside the U. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, curious to your take on the running game. It's just not gotten going with the running backs, in particular with Jalen Knighton. after that game against Florida State, what have you seen these last 2 weeks? And also just him in general. Now he's dipped under 4 yards a carry on the season. Just your thoughts on him and his performance this year.
I think he's performed great. I'm not worried about the run game because, right now we found our identity. We're playing to the strengths of what we can do. It was just 2 weeks ago he ran for 162 yards. So, we're going to do what we need to do each game, we think, to score and win. We came out the other night against a team who hadn't given up 300 yards passing all year and threw the ball pretty well. And when we needed to run the football, we did. When it was on the 1 or 2 yard line, we scored touchdowns. When it was 4th and 1, he was close. We got it. When there was 6.5 minutes to go, we ran the clock out and they never got it back. So, while yardage wise, it wasn't great, and Jalen didn't have a big game in the yardage category. We're playing to our strengths and who we are. And I think we've all figured out what that is this year and how people are playing us. If someone gives us the opportunity, I'd love to say we could run the ball for a lot of yards. And I'm not acting like we have had a stellar running performance this year by any means, but I'm not concerned with those things. I'm concerned with us scoring and winning. And like I said, over the last 5 or 6 games, we've given ourselves a chance to do that more times than not. And, I think probably with Jalen too, you start to look at a guy who, he didn't play the first 4 games and he's still over 100 something carries. I mean, I'm sure it takes a toll on your body. And so that's why it was good to get that in there and do what he did the other night. And, Cody got in, didn't really get a carry, I don't think, the way it folded, but, you never know this weekend. You can only take so many hits. And so, that look, Jalen's first 4 or 5 games, he got everybody's attention, and so they're pretty, when they do over the scouting report, they say, we got to stop this guy, and this guy. I guarantee it, number 4 is one of those guys. So, people are keen on him too, but we could do a better job overall. But right now, I think we know what our strength is, and we're going to play to our strength.
Coach, we got time for a couple more. We're going to go to David Wilson from the Miami Herald. David, go ahead for Coach Lashlee.
Hey, Rhett, following up on that, you mentioned Thad, and he was a guy that a lot of people have been, he's a local guy, so a lot of people have been clamoring to see him a little bit more. Just wondering what it was that finally let him get on the field there. And did he, obviously he did what you wanted in that role.
Yeah, I think he started practicing the last couple of weeks like a guy who really wanted to play and, did a really good job, learning the game plan each week and just getting some reps. In fairness to him, the first half of the season, when we had more depth at the running back position, he was so far down the depth chart that he probably wasn't getting those reps. And so over the last, 2, 3, 4 weeks with our situation, him and Cody have gotten a lot more opportunities, him in particular, and in practice. And, I think he's learning how to practice. A lot of times young guys, it takes some time. He's doing that. He said he had a good couple of weeks, and then that situation was built for that. I mean, he's a big downhill runner. It was rainy. It was like a 1985 inside drill, and everybody's slipping around all over the field at that point. We were able to go downhill right at him with, Justice and Parrott in there. And I think it was a really good fit for his skill set too. And so, he caught a ball against Florida State that was a good catch. So I think confidence is starting to improve too. So it was really good to see that.
And then I also want to ask about Brashard, who you touched on a little bit at the top there. Early on, we just kind of, he was in there, a lot of jet sweeps and stuff. You threw to him last against Florida State, and then obviously the big play this week. Just how much is his, have you been able to kind of add things for him throughout the season, maybe add different packages? It seems like he's clearly progressed just in the amount of things you're willing to do with him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, he's gotten better each week. So we've been able to try to, he's a guy you want to get the ball to, and we know the defense knows that, but maybe do it different variety of ways, like you said, and try to be a little less predictable or put him in. There's a couple of times lately he hasn't gotten the ball, and that's okay. I think against Florida State, we threw 2 post routes with him in there and didn't throw them to him. And, last week he was able to take the handoff and then flip it back on the trick play. So, but yeah, his versatility is good because he's a receiver, but obviously he has running back skills. So you can line him up in the backfield. You can line him up in the slot. You can put him outside, but he can run our whole base offense. So it's not like when he's in there, he's going to get the ball every time. And I think now he's at a point too, at this point of the season, where he understands the base offense to the point that he doesn't have to be just a specialty guy. You can do more things with him. And so I think that's what's helping too.
Coach, last question for you is going to come from Gary Furman from Kane Sport. Gary, go ahead.
Hey, Rhett, how you doing today?
Gary.
Mike Harley as I'm sure you know, is 5 catches away from the career reception record at Miami. And when you look at all of the great receivers that have played in the program, it's kind of remarkable. But I know you've only worked with him for 2 years. To us, he was a kid that from the minute he stepped on campus, you saw his work ethic. You saw how he didn't take practices off, how serious he was about his game. Now that you have worked with him for 2 years, can you just talk a little bit about your Mike Harley experience? And also, will you be feeding him the ball on Saturday?
You know, I'm really proud of Mike, to your point. Mike's really kind of, you know, we talk a lot about how De'Aaron came in and really did a lot of things culturally and just from a leadership standpoint for us, and he did. And Mike's one of those guys, I think, in the receiver room who really last year and this year since I've been here is kind of taken on that leadership role in that room, both holding himself and the older guys accountable, but also helping younger guys. And what he's done, just to your point, his work ethic is what stands out to me. I mean, you got a guy who, especially in a year like this where a lot of our older guys, they were getting hurt, it just wasn't going right. And he came to work every day. You know, when Tyler became our guy, he was the first one to go and just basically say, let's go, I got you. And the way he practiced and the way he almost raised his level to try to help out Tyler, to me, was impressive. And I think the other thing about Mike is just his unselfishness. I mean, got a guy last year caught 57 balls. I think between him and X and Richard, his position this year's caught 70 plus balls. I'm not exactly sure the number, 60, 70, 75, you know, but because Xavier's a really good player and Richard's a good player, and, you know, it allows Mike to stay fresher throughout the game. He's been unselfish. You know, he's in the 40s in touches, still pretty good year, but some guys could say, well, if I had all the snaps, I'd have 70, 80 catches, you know, and he's just about winning. He's about the team. You know, he hasn't made it about him. And to me, his impact over the last 2 years since I've been here are going to be felt far more than when he breaks that record or really even his legacy. It's what, like, Romello Brinson and Keyshawn Smith, another one he's really taken under his wing, and Xavier Restrepo and Rashard Smith and Jacoby George, what those guys are able to do because they saw how it should be done. And in a year or two, they're going to be doing that for other people. But just really his example and just how he's carried himself, to me, is the biggest thing. And I think that legacy will live on. Yes, I'm fully aware of how many catches he needs. And that's an important goal for our offensive unit, for Mike and for us as a unit. So we're very aware of what he and Rambo need. And, you know, winning's the ultimate goal, but we're on it.
Thank you.
Coach Lashlee, thanks for spending a few minutes with us today. Hope you have a great Thanksgiving with your family, and good luck this week against Duke.
Thanks. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone else.
Thank you.